back to the Football Tribe UG channel. Robert Kesakos is your usual suspects. Welcome back to yet another live broadcast on your favorite football updates channel. It's the UEFA Champions League watch along of Arsenal versus Atletico Madrid that we shall be following to conclusion as Arsenal have scored 4 second half goals to ensure that they cruise into the lead. There, Gabriel Magalhaes, Victor Gyökeres with the brace, as well as Gabriel Martinelli, the ones on target for the Gunners at the Emirates Stadium to ensure that they are into that 2-0 lead. So do please join me as we continue with that watch along. A result that I must acknowledge I did not see coming. I must acknowledge I did not see this coming. We are already into the 75th minute of the game. Arsenal have made some changes, withdrawing Gabriel Magalhaes for Christian Mosquera, Ebeleche Eze for Ethan Wanyeri, and possibly more to come in that regard as we keep tabs on that fixture. Of course, with Martin Zubimendi being withdrawn for Christian Nogat. So yeah, those are the changes that Mikel Arteta has made. Of course, Martin Zubimendi got himself booked with a yellow card in the first half for some continuous fouls, and he will be absent for the next game. He will miss the next match that they will be playing against Slavia Praha. But as we speak, Arsenal are leading the game by 4 goals to nil. So do join me on this exclusive watch along tonight as we see this game to a conclusion. Like I said, it's not a result I saw coming because my prediction had been a 1-1 draw or a 2-2 draw, because I thought Atletico de Madrid had sort of gained some bit of momentum in recent times to come to the Emirates Stadium and get a result. But defensively, I did expect Arsenal to be solid, and so far they've not disappointed. They still have a clean sheet. They have only conceded, I think, 1 goal from open play so far this season. By open play, I mean that goal against Manchester City, because the one they conceded against Liverpool was a set piece, and then the other they conceded was against I'm trying to remember. It was, I know for a fact it was in the Premier League, but I think it was another set piece, but it wasn't from open play. So I stand to be corrected. But yeah, those are some of the games that they played, and like I said in the preview, they are so well drilled in terms of how they push to win the ball back in the first 8-10 seconds of losing the ball. We've seen again set piece play come into action here because 2 of their goals have come from set piece plays. One a corner kick, another a free kick. The first goal that was Gabriel Magalhaes' goal was from a free kick, I think floated in by Declan Rice, and then the corner kick with Gabriel Magalhaes heading it back for Victor Gyökeres to tap it into the back of the net. It was another set piece. So you can see that set pieces continue to be very, very integral to whatever it is Arsenal get to do in the game of football so far this season. We're into the 78th minute of the game, and it's still 4 goals to nil. So you have a burst of assists. You have a goal and an assist from Gabriel Magalhaes. You have an assist from Miles Lewis-Kelly for Gabriel Martinelli's goal, and which I thought was really, really sublime. The way he takes on the ball, he carries that ball through the midfield, dribbling past some players. Again, this speaks to sort of the squad depth that Arsenal have at their disposal, because one weekend we are singing praise of Ricardo Carafiori, and then today we are having a swap of lieutenants with Miles Lewis-Kelly starting this one, and he's still delivering. So that's the sort of talent that Arsenal do have on their hands. Can they see this one through without conceding? I will wait to see, because they are yet to concede a goal in the UEFA Champions League so far this season. I remember their first 2 games were 2-0 victories against Athletic Bilbao and Olympiacos. So they managed to keep clean sheets in those ones. Long ball floated in, bit of getting banned there. Victor Gyökeres. If I mention an update and you've already observed it, please understand that my feed may be a couple of seconds, if not an entire minute, behind yours. So please take note of that. But I mean, this game, I want to consider it a statement sort of victory if they can see it through for Arsenal, because they've come under some unfair criticism about their reliance on set piece play, and yet and while I find it very unfair, because I mean, set pieces, whether throw in, whether corner kicks, whether free kicks, are all part of the game. It's not like they invented something of their own that they get to rely on to win games. That's not the case. That's not the case. So clearly, there's something to be positive about this Arsenal side with the way they are going about their business. They are really, really doing things the right way. So yeah, let's watch the game to the conclusion as I give you my insights, what I've made so far of the game. The first half I thought was a bit of a 50-50, and not in terms of teams being evenly matched, but in terms of the few chances that were there, because again, Arsenal dominated the game. They dominated possession. They were going forward, but they were not creating those clear-cut chances to score. They scored one goal, but it was offside that had been tapped in by Gabriel Martinelli, with Bukayo Saka then providing what would have been the assist. So, I mean, UN Timber, what a player. What a player, UN Timber. Gabriel Magalhaes, what a leader, what a centre back when it comes to set piece play, their organization. Of course, Nicolas Jova, the set piece coach, coming to sort of to action every time they get a set piece play. He's always commanding the boys on how to go about things. It's really, really brilliant to watch. It's really, really brilliant to watch. For me, I cannot criticize Arsenal for winning the way they win if it means that they win all games through set piece play. Why? Because they are part of the game. I wouldn't mind if a team genuinely won 10 penalties in 10 consecutive games and they scored those, and those were what wins them the games. I wouldn't be against that, because it's part of the game. It's part of the game. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on which way you look at it, they are part of the game, So I do not see it in that manner. So I thought Arsenal really, really applied themselves really, really well throughout this game. The way they won the ball back, the way they pressed, Atletico Madrid, particularly in the second half. They've pinned them really in. They've limited the damage on the other side. Atletico Madrid have had very, very few chances. Have had very, very few chances. Although I think, Mikel Arteta should be thinking of giving maybe Gabriel Martinelli a rest, time to bring on Leandro Trossard. Atletico Madrid had that one big opportunity with Julian Alvarez hitting the crossbar, hitting the crossbar. Of course, Victor Gyökeres's first goal was deflected off Hanko's, sort of heels before beat Jan Oblak in goal to hit the back of the net. Then the second goal that he scored, which was the fourth of the night, was off his thigh, but regardless of how he scored. But yeah, Arsenal making changes already, bringing in Ben White, I think, for UN Timber, another player that needs that rest. He really, really needs that rest. And then, of course, Victor Gyökeres is equally withdrawn as well. Another player that needs that bit of rest for all the minutes he's played. Arsenal fans will be delighted with this performance tonight. Again, in the first half, he didn't look the sharpest of players, but I thought his hold-up play was good every time he got played in, every time he got played into the game. Particularly, he was drifting towards the right wing, on Bukayo Saka's side predominantly, and I thought his hold-up play was good. So Yohan Timber and Victor Gyökeres are among those the substitutions that Arsenal have made tonight. They have completed all their 5 substitutions. Like I've told you, Martin Zubimendi paved the way for Christian Nogard, while Christian Mosquera came in for Gabriel Magalhaes and things like that. So while Ethan Wanyeri came in for Ebeleche Eze in what has been a very, very decent game so far this evening. All you can hope for is whether Arsenal can keep a clean sheet tonight, because it will be another statement if they were to keep a clean sheet. Why? Because it speaks again furthermore to their defensive prowesses. It would speak to to that sort of dominance of teams in all aspects when it comes to defending, when it comes to attacking the game. In that regard, that's how I would want to look at it. That's the positivity. You could see, according to the statistics, Arsenal have a 56% ball possession with a 91% pass accuracy. They've really, really had a decent game. I think when we look back on this game, if they are able to see it through the way it is, I think we could literally argue that it is Arsenal's biggest game of the season so far. Conor Gallagher just moments ago hit the upright after he did clash, but there was a clash of two players at the edge of the area between William Saliba and I do not know who. Oh, actually, it wasn't. He didn't hit the upright. David Raya saved. David Raya came to the rescue of Arsenal to keep it 4-0 as we speak. We're into the 86th minute of the game, around that ballpark. So it's still 4-0. Do let me know who has been your standout performer of the night. Martin Zubimendi in that midfield, so sublime. He's the kind of player that can easily go unnoticed, the way he applies himself. But because tonight he sort of clipped so many players, which something that I appreciated about him, that got him seen so many times, maybe for the wrong reasons. But the reason as to why I say clipping players was good is because Arsenal oftentimes at the receiving end of those kinds of incidents. They play against teams that are going to clip on their players to try and kill their momentum and things like that, and things like that. And yet they oftentimes do not do it. I've seen it over the years. Every time they face Manchester City, whether it was Rodri, whether it was Fernandinho, whether it was Fernando Ruiz Rosa, regardless of who is in that midfield, Yaya Toure, they look to clip on those Arsenal players to kill their momentum, to kill their pace, to kill their confidence. And I saw them do that, particularly in the first half. And I thought it served them well. Wow. That was a goal line clearance from Ethan Wanyeri. Ball is deflected, almost deflected in off Martinelli's knee as it's being crossed in by Alex Baina. David Raya could not reach it, and Ethan Wanyeri parried it away. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful game of football. You can't see the misery on the faces of some Atletico Madrid fans that are present at the Emirates Stadium tonight. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful game of football that we have had on our hands. Again, when you look back to last season, when they beat up against Real Madrid by 3-0, a lot of people would have assumed it was a fluke. But we're talking about an Atletico Madrid who just a fortnight ago, okay, maybe I think slightly more than a fortnight ago, beat up against Real Madrid by 5-2 in the Madrid derby, before going on to beat up against Eintracht Frankfurt, I think by 5-1 in the UEFA Champions League. So Arsenal's next fixture will be up against Crystal Palace, a very, very difficult London derby. That will come on Super Sunday at the Emirates Stadium. Crystal Palace have a game to play on Thursday in the UEFA Conference League. But even though Arsenal will have had more days of rest, make no mistake, Crystal Palace is a very, very difficult, a very, very stubborn opponent. Those that have faced it this season so far will tell you why they've only lost one game so far this season, when they have met and beat up against teams like Liverpool, when they have gone against teams like Chelsea, when they forced Bournemouth into a 3-3 draw, a game that one would have easily thought that they were at the losing end of it, having gone 2-0 down in that game. So, okay. I also thought Luis Kelly has had a good game. It's really, really hard to look around and say and fault any Arsenal player for an underperformance tonight. Declan Rice has run his socks off once again. He's a workhorse. Sometimes I wonder whether he has two lungs like other human beings, or for him he has three. He's that kind of player. He's quite the workhorse. He never stops running. He literally never stops running. He literally never stops running. He will run up and down across that pitch, like it's his last game, of his career. Like it's his life depends on it. And like I said, it's also good to see Arsenal in this sort of mold and shape, where they are predominantly an attacking team, where they're not just waiting for that set piece play, as people have oftentimes accused them, to try and gain the advantage. In that sort of sense, because 2 goals from set pieces, 2 goals from open play. I mean, you ought to credit that. You ought to credit that kind of performance. It's been quite a wonderful tonight. Like we did expect changes to their starting 11. For those of you that were part of our preview, we did expect Mikel Arteta to make some changes here and there. And in those changes, he decided to bring in Gabriel Martinelli to start on the left wing, withdrawing, of course, Leandro Trossard, who started in their 1-0 victory away to Fulham. The other change was Ricardo Carafiori being withdrawn for Miles Lewis-Kelly, which was another thing, positive thing. And it's good that Ricardo Carafiori gets a complete rest. He doesn't come into this game, because he's also very critical in the way they play, particularly in the Premier League, where we've seen him predominantly. Jurriën Timber, I mean, I do not know if we can. The thing about Jurriën Timber is he's very aggressive. He can be silky sometimes. He's just too effective in what he does, especially when it comes to doing his things defensively. When it comes to doing his things defensively, he's quite really solid. He chases that ball around, and you just love to watch him. You just love to watch him. You just love to watch him. You just love to watch Jurriën Timber play. So, anyways, 3 minutes have been added. And we're already into the 92nd minute of this game. And it's safe to say that Arsenal, I'm going to see this one throughout, or I'm going to see it through with a clean sheet. I think that's the only thing they have left to play for in these final seconds or minutes of this game. Because remember, it's a minimum of those added minutes. It's never the maximum. The maximum is up to the referee's discretion. But I thought Christian Norgard, when he came on, Ethan Nwaneri and Mikel Merino have looked impressive. I thought they've looked impressive. Maybe it's the beauty of coming into the game when there's no pressure, when the team is literally already won, when you're just playing, to see the game through, when you just have to defend what the team has already literally achieved in that sort of sense. But they've not stopped running. They've not stopped being the counter press for that ball, Arsenal. And that's what has been particularly impressive about them tonight. So, yeah, beautiful game of football that they have played tonight. Meanwhile, in the other games that I was following, Paris Saint-Germain were 5-1 up against Bayer Leverkusen, 2 red cards in that game, with Ilya Zabani being sent off for the side of PSG. I forget the Bayer Leverkusen player that was sent off. At one point it was 1-1, but PSG, Desli Doué, Kivica Kvaratskhelia, William Pacho among the goal scorers in that one. Manchester City were 2-0 up against Villarreal, or away to Villarreal. Anyway, it's all over. Arsenal win the game by 4-0. What a performance on the night. What a performance on the night from this Arsenal side. Like I said, there's nothing you can really fault them for tonight's performance, even if you really wanted to. Even if you wanted to be really picky maybe the one awkward moment, you had that moment in the first half when David Villa went for the ball and he sort of hesitated, hoping that he could sort of shield it to go outside. It couldn't go outside. Then he tried to play it, out, and he almost got caught out of possession. He then eventually got it out. Atletico Madrid did a quick throw in, and I think it was Julian Alvarez who was accorded space by Miles Lewis Kelly up that right flank, up that left flank, and he sort of whips the ball in, and it was a close call. It was a near miss. It was the ball was of course off target, but I thought that was the only awkward moment that you could look to. I mean, what an impressive performance from the Gunners tonight in that 4-0 victory against Atletico de Madrid on this beautiful Tuesday night. I don't know. I'm still waiting to know who takes the UEFA a man of the match, because Victor Gyökeres had a brace. Gabriel Magalhaes squad and provided an assist. Gabriel Martinelli on target. Miles Lewis Kelly I thought was impressive. Urian Timber, very impressive. Declan Rice, very impressive. David Villa did not have much to do. Bukayo Saka did not have that sort of impact, statistical impact in the sense of an assist or a goal, but he was a really, really very decent up there, giving Atletico de Madrid a run for their money. But I mean, what an impressive game of football. So for those of you that are following the discussion, do let me know who was your man of the match. What has been your reaction to that kind of performance? Let's have the engagement. Let's have the engagement in regards to that concluded fixture between Arsenal and Paris Saint-Germain. Of course, we'll get to look at all the other results. We'll get to look at all the other results from the night, from the across the UEFA Champions League and the fixtures that will be to come tomorrow. But yeah, do let me know what your thoughts are in as far as that game is concerned. Let me see if I can get some quick reaction from some Arsenal fans online in different forums and see what they have to say. Somebody said, I told you this Arsenal team is playing well, but the haters want to portray a different picture. I think that speaks to people like Jamie O'Hara, a Tottenham Hotspur fan who thinks that Arsenal are over-relying on set pieces. I was seeing him featuring on Sky Sport, and he was saying Arsenal literally reinvented the wheel, that they're making the game boring because they brought back set pieces, they brought back long throw-ins, and every team is now trying to do it and things like that. Like I said, you can't fault them for what is. You cannot fault them for what is essentially part of the game. A Real Madrid fan has just said, let Simeone be beaten for once. So I completely understand that. Meanwhile, in some bit of breaking news, La Liga have announced that the Villarreal game versus Barcelona match that was set to be played in Miami has been cancelled. Now, over the course of the weekend, La Liga teams were in protest. Once play started, they stood still for the first 15, 20 seconds to show their disgruntledness, to show their in protest of La Liga's decision to take the game between Villarreal and Barcelona to be played over there in the United States of America. It's a topic we tackled on this channel before, and I was speaking about it at the time when Pedri brought it forward to me, and I said, from a commercial perspective, La Liga were right. They want to promote La Liga more. But from a domestic fans perspective, it's a very, very wrong decision in that sense. But we will speak maybe about that at a much, much later stage. So really, really brilliant. You have no idea how much I love this picture. That's how we based on X, seeing a picture of Victor Yokeres doing his celebration of the mask on, and then the celebration of Gabriel Magalhaes with his same sort of fingers, but put on his eyes. You remember when Gabriel Magalhaes scored against Sporting Lisbon last season in the UEFA Champions League, and he did that celebration, and people thought it was to mimic or to mock Victor Yokeres, and he said it was the contrary. Yes, that's what they've been trying to portray tonight in that regard. So, but yeah, I mean, what a game of football that we did witness tonight. What a result for Arsenal. So beautiful, beautiful results. Do let me know if you're just joining us. What were your thoughts and opinions on that game? Meanwhile, Arsene Wenger was at a certain forum, and he was asked on Arsenal. He had this to comment about Arsenal this season. He said, Arsenal have the look of a title winner without any hesitation. They have the most complete squad. I've seen Liverpool finishing the game versus Chelsea. They had Szoboszlai at right back and Gravenberch centre back. Arsenal would not be in this position. That's Arsene Wenger speaking about his former club's squad depth. In regards to what this season has to hold for them. We've spoken about Arsenal squad depth at great length. I do not think I need to repeat myself on that, but I've argued before that arguably they have the most balanced squad in the Premier League so far. Anyways, then okay, let's try and look for more reaction. From somebody saying that Gyökeres finally got some calls. Anyways, beautiful results, beautiful results there from the Gunners. Okay, if I had to go for my man of the match, I don't know. I'm inclined to give it to Declan Rice. Because, I mean, the way he does apply himself, how effective, how tireless he is, it's just impressive to watch. And then, it's just impressive to watch. And then that Arsenal back four tonight, Julian Timber, Maz Lewis Kelly, Gabriel Magalhaes, and William Saliba, you cannot fault them for anything. They've managed to keep another clean sheet. One would have argued that, against Bilbao, expected against Olympiacos, not too much of a big deal. But this was Atletico Madrid, a team that had scored 10 goals in 2 games, 11 goals in 3 games. There was a lot of mockery online and thoughts that both teams were going to play with a system in the form of 8-2 in terms of defensively, that they were just going to sit back, and not attack each other. But I think Arsenal came out to the contrary and decided, we're going to show a different face of ourselves tonight, and perhaps people will appreciate that. And basically, that's what they've done, and they couldn't be more proud of themselves. The perfect image doesn't exist. Okay, no. There's a lot of reaction about that image that I've just told you about. But yeah, when you look at Arsenal's goals coming in the 57th minute from Gabriel Magalhaes, then in the 64th minute from Gabriel Martinelli, 3 minutes later it was Victor Yokeres, and another 3 minutes later it was Victor Yokeres to complete that 4-0 drubbing over Atletico de Madrid. So That was 4 goals in 14 minutes. Quarter an hour of madness, a period that sort of defined the game. Then, according to the hand of Arsenal, he's saying his man of the match is Martin Zubimendi. And he says, Elgas. That's what he's going for. Okay, I can't argue with him. I can't argue with him. I would take him. Like I said, a lot, literally, away from David Raya, all those outfielded Arsenal players could pass for a man of the match because they all gave a man of the match kind of performance. No. Then somebody said, it still hurts my soul that we had to go a whole season without Julian Timber. Out one of the most excellent signings Arsenal have ever made. He's speaking about that debut campaign for Julian Timber, where he suffered an anterior cruciate ligament injury in their opening game of the season against Nottingham Forest, which I remember I stand to be corrected, but I think it was a 1-0 victory there. During Arsenal's Champions League game versus Atletico Jokeris' former club, Sporting last